Hey guys, welcome to Music Workflow Academy, another podcast. We've got an amazing guest today. We've got DJ Amara.
Hi.
Here she is. So I'm sure a few of the viewers know about her, seen what she's about. She's doing some big things at the moment with DJing.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure, my pleasure. So how did you get into DJing initially?
Oh God, well, I was a proper raver. I've been a raver since I was like 16. So I was like in that scene for so long. Um, and I actually didn't start DJing until much later on. It was actually not too much before lockdown happened that I'd just started. And I had a lot of friends that were DJs and I was always out and I was always partying. And I was like, I love music. I should be doing this. Um, so I started learning to DJ, but I didn't really get much of a chance to like really like properly get out there because lockdown happened and then it was this really weird thing. So for me, it was like it happened quite in a strange way where I'd only just really started and then lockdown happened and then I started producing. And by the time I came out of lockdown, I then was doing like really big shows. So it was a bit strange, but also like the best thing because I just got thrown in at the deep end. And, you know, I'm very grateful for like the way it happened. Um, but I did work really hard over lockdown. I was like learning to produce, and that's when Patrick Topping heard my music, and that's how that all happened. So yeah.
Brilliant. So for those that don't know, Amara's played at Trick. She's done DC-10, Creamfields, Terminal V, just to name a few gigs.
When you say it like that, I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah,
Like I realize when I hear it how sick that is.
yeah, literally so good. And you got your manager Stacey. I've met Stacey.
Yeah.
She's amazing, lovely.
Oh, when did you meet her?
A few seasons ago, in Ibiza, we had a little afters at mine, and then yeah, she was showing me this really cool music, and I was like, awesome. And she was with her friend. But yeah, no, amazing. So
Oh, sick.
respect the hustle, respect the work rate. Good. It's
Yeah.
nice to see good people in the music industry.
Oh,
So
yeah, she's good.
yeah, so you're feeling a lot better now. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Because you weren't
Yeah.
too
There's
well.
something going around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you get, well, I don't know if we can even talk about it on the podcast, but did you get like a booster or anything? Was that what it was? Like,
No, it wasn't that. I don't know. I think I've just got, I don't know, cold.
was-
Really not made for this weather.
yeah. Let's
Really,
we'll move to IB for one day. I'm definitely.
yeah, that's the dream.
So how did you learn initially? Were you self-taught? Did you go to a school? YouTube tutorials? What was your kind of pathway through?
Yeah. So I really wanted to do point blank, but I just couldn't afford it because I wanted to do it in person, but it was just so expensive. Um, yeah, it wasn't really possible for me to do that. So I started. I think I got Logic, so I use Logic. Yes, I use Logic. A lot of people don't use Logic. I do. And I was sort of dabbling and like playing around myself, but I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I have no idea. And then someone told me about like Fader Pro and like other online courses that you could do. So I was like, okay, great. Well, I'll give those a go because I've got loads of time, time on my hands. So yeah, I just started watching loads of tutorials and honestly, I swear, I just was winging it the whole time. And I I still think back and I'm like, how did I get away with like signing an EP on Trick? Because that EP was like some of the first music I'd ever made. And I'm like, what? But I think because I wasn't overthinking it. And at that time I was so free because I had nothing, there was no pressure. I wasn't a well-established DJ or producer. So I didn't really care what anyone thought. I was just like, oh yeah, I'll give this a go. And I was just making like weird sounds and like putting weird things together. And I wasn't even paying attention to like what key things are in, which was like the kind of stuff that I care about now, and it just worked. So I'm like, what? Like I look back and I'm like, what was I doing? But yeah, I guess in a way that's kind of like what made it so special, was because I wasn't thinking about it in the way that I think about music now. So I think in a way that's probably good. It's like probably good advice to give people, not to overthink it too much and just go with it. And it was kind of all wacky and weird, and Patrick loved it because like Trick was kind of that sound. So yeah, honestly, it was all trial and error really, and lots of YouTube and all of that.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. Like that's why we're here, just to help DJs and producers. We're not too expensive, just we got students.
Yeah, that's so great. And that's the thing, it's like I get a lot of DMs from people and they're asking me how I got started, and they're saying that I can't afford it and all of these things, and actually it doesn't need to cost that much. And you do great courses and stuff, and like it's, as long as you've got like a laptop as well and a MIDI, like that's all you need. At first, when I first started, I thought I needed all this stuff and all this equipment, and I would look at like big producers and see their studios and feel really intimidated and be like, I don't have that. But I managed to make an EP off my laptop, and that was it. So that is a myth that you need lots of equipment and stuff. It's not true. I actually saw that on YouTube. I don't know who it was that said that, and I was like, oh, suddenly clicked in me, and I was like, okay, I could do this.
That's it. That's one of the main things that I preach at the school. I'm like, you don't need to buy all this expensive gear. Like most of it's in the program, and
yeah,
myth debunked. I'm happy you said that. So
yeah. I think a lot of people get really intimidated by production, and like I said, I get a lot of messages from young people that want to produce, and they just get really overwhelmed, and it doesn't need to be it. They just need to simplify it a bit and just go, and not see it as like this big thing that's out there. And it's like, actually, you can do it in your own home, and anyone can. So
that's brilliant. It's good. I think it's definitely a lot about mindset. You get people that come into it, and then it's kind of like a maze. Like if you can see the maze from above, you can navigate it. But if you just go in and get lost, then you're kind of like, that's when you're making bass lines for kick drums for 3 hours in Serum. Like you don't need to do that.
Exactly, it is mindset. I think a lot of the reason why I've done well is because of my mindset. I always say to all of my friends, and if they're quite limited in their like view on things, I always say, well, I did it, and I had no experience or anything, so I always went into it thinking I can do it. If someone else can, then I can. I never actually really doubted myself. So I had a lot of confidence going in. And I think you have to just be like that and not get too scared of the prospect of it all.
Yeah, that's it. You had the initial confidence. A lot of people come to me and they struggle with feeling confident, and it's just getting that confidence and of any limiting beliefs and stuff.
Yeah, I think if you love music, then that should be enough. And that's the reason why I did feel confident, because I was like, well, I know my tunes and I know good music. So if I know that, then at least I'm nearly there. Like, do you know what I mean? The rest is just stuff I need to learn. It's just technical, but the fact that I love music and I know I've got a good ear is enough. And I think if people have that, then they should really believe in themselves, because that's all you need. The rest is all stuff that you can learn. If you put your mind to it, obviously, you have to put the work in and really put the hours in to learn, production and stuff. And it can be a little bit tedious at times. But yeah, if you love music, then that should be enough to give you the confidence.
That's it. That's what we say. I'm happy to work with anyone if they love music. They might not have direction on what their sound is, but it's like selection's like 80% of it, and then the rest is just like beat matching or technical skills and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I always say that actually DJing is not that difficult. It's more it's more like what your selection is that I think that's what, when I'm listening to DJ, I'm like, oh, that's a wicked tune, or, you know, those are the things that I'm looking out for. Most people aren't really looking at, well, especially in the crowd, everyone's off their faces. They're not like, oh, that mix or whatever. They're just like loving the tunes and the journey that you take them on. It's not, you know, no one has a clue what you're actually doing up there.
That's so funny. So what's the most fun gig you've played? What are your fun gig stories?
Oh God. Do you know what? It's so funny because so I'm from London, but I play up north all the time, because my sound, I'd say, is probably more, I don't know if it's better suited, but yeah, that they love like old school rave and like slightly faster BPM. I say slightly faster, much faster than down here, but I do think it is like all sort of you know, not changing, but yeah, that sound is becoming popular now down here. But yeah, so I play up north a lot, so I see a lot of funny things up there because everyone's a little bit crazier. Everyone's a little bit rowdier. But oh, I see all sorts. I mean, I actually put a video up on Instagram. It's on one of my reels of these girls, and they all jump up on stage and they're all doing the worm while I'm DJing. And that was in Bristol, and I was like, what the? Or, you know, just people getting off, or like the signs that they put up for me, like, you know, will you marry me, and all that stuff. It's very sweet. It's very sweet. But yeah, I see lots of funny, but you know what, I love it because that's what it's all about, and that's what makes me have fun. And the thing is that when I'm DJing, I'm not one of those DJs that will just I will be in the zone, but I really, really always interact with the crowd, always. And I'll see people, and I'll, you know, I'm like really engage with people, and that's what makes it so fun for me, is when I see, or sometimes I see people that I recognize that have come to those of my shows, and yeah, it's so fun.
I love that. Yeah, brilliant. Oh, that's so good. I'm just writing that down. It's interesting. It's nice to know, like, it is fun to interact with the crowd and stuff, especially the more intimate, you know, venues and stuff. It is good.
Always. I love that. I just feel like, you know, they've come all this way, and when you're playing music, it is like an exchange of energy, I guess. And yeah, it makes me so happy to see other people having fun. That's like my favorite thing. That's why I do it. Because I remember being that person also, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're like doing it for your younger self almost, like
100%. I was actually going through pictures, and I found from like an old hard drive, and I found loads of pictures of me at raves when I was younger. I used to go to loads of drum and bass raves, and there's loads of me, like I got on stage once with DJ Hype, and I was like, wow! Like, I thought it was like the coolest thing, and now I'm like, oh wow, that's that. I'm now doing that. You know, it's kind of mad, but yeah, definitely is for my younger self.
yeah, that it's the right reasons to do things. Like, I think if you get into it for the right reason, you'll do well. Some people come to me and they're like, oh, I want to do it for the image or the money, and I'm like, I'm not really fussed about working with them, because I'm like,
Oh god,
not what the industry needs.
People actually say that.
Yeah. Oh my god, and I'm like, I can't work with them. You know, I'm like,
oh no. Do you know what I always think? I always think that is a bonus, because if that happens, then it's a bonus. But it shouldn't be the reason why you do it. No,
exactly.
I don't think you'll do well. I don't think you'd really enjoy it if you did it for those reasons.
Yeah, I can imagine it getting very monotonous and boring, just doing it for money, and yeah. So yeah, do it for the right reasons. Basically, if you're going to get into DJing, do it because you like to make people happy, you like to make people dance, you know, and it's a good laugh, isn't it?
It really is a good laugh. It's a great job.
That's the main thing. You get to the crowd from time to time, and some good backstage moments, all that jazz.
Oh yeah, all of that.
So where can we see you performing in the next You got any big plans for 2023 yet, or?
Yeah, I do. Well, I do have some shows lined up for 2023. December, I'm playing again. I'm doing Manchester, Lancaster, Cardiff, and then next year, yeah, I'm doing Fly in Scotland, which I'm so excited about because I've always wanted to do Fly. It's like I've always said I wanted to play there, and it's like at Edinburgh Castle, which is so sick. It'll be my second castle that I've played at now. So yeah, buzzing. I'm buzzing. Like lots of exciting things. I'm very excited.
That's so good. I'll have to come
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Where are you?
I'm in London at the moment. I'm born and bred Londoner as well.
Oh, yeah. If I get a London show as well, they sort of. If I do get a London show, it's like not that often. But I did Fabric not that long ago. And that was amazing because that was my debut. But yeah, I'll let you know if I do anything a bit closer. I won't make you come all the way to Cardiff or something.
Well, you never know. Maybe I'll travel.
Then again,
Yeah, yeah.
guest list.
Sounds like fun. I'll get the train up, get pissed.
Oh, it'll be great fun.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, no. Yeah, it'll be good. I'll come to a few of your shows for sure. We've got events, quite a few events in Ibiza next year, so
Oh wow!
get you as a special guest. That'd be really cool.
Oh, that would be wicked. Have you already got them planned then?
Well, we have a few venues that we're in talks with at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, towards the end of the season, things got a bit ropey with the police, and DC-10 the garden got shut down, and and a few clubs were getting raided, and Octane got in trouble, and towards the end of the season, everyone I was in contact with was like, we've had to shut because of getting raided or whatever. So
yeah,
so we'll, as long as they reopen next year, we should be.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Yeah, it's Ibiza, like everyone chill out. People need to chill out and get the after party scene going again, and
yeah, that'll be so fun.
But yeah, definitely you'll be coming out for a few shows, definitely, if I can get that sorted. See if we can do Ibiza Rocks and Octane, and maybe something at Ocean Beach as well. Just get everything, get everyone involved.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all on the cards. So changing topic now. What was your kind of like musical kind of introduction? Like, what did you like? Did you like it as a kid, or did you hit like 12 and you're like, oh, I like showing people music, or what was your kind of like, that's it moment? I want to be a DJ and share music with people, or was it just, you were just in a rave one day, like, oh, I like the look of that. Did anyone kind of inspire you? What did you listen to initially? Because for me, I started with like dubstep, and then they started putting grime on the dubstep CDs, and then started listening to grime, and then I started going to squat raves, and then the drum and bass came in, and then house eventually. But
yeah, for me it's quite similar because I didn't just start with house or I actually first started raving to drum and bass and dubstep those days. And I remember going to my first rave. I mean, I was always, ever since I was young, I always really loved music, and I always loved music that was very different to what other people my age liked. So I was a bit of an old soul in that sense, because I wasn't really listening to the stuff that my friends, and especially my girlfriends, because they were listening to, like, I don't know, girl groups and stuff, and I was listening to much different music. I was like listening to the Prodigy and stuff like that. So so I always had an interest for music, and then when I started raving and I started going to drum and bass raves, and illegal raves, when I was about 16. I was like, whoa, what the fuck is this? It was like a whole new world had opened up, and then I was out and about all the time and going to all these different raves, and there was always something in the back of my head that was like, oh, I wish I could do that, I want to do that, but I don't know, I didn't pursue it for ages because I don't know what it was. I didn't know a lot of people like me. I didn't know a lot of females that were doing it at the time. I felt quite intimidated by the whole scene, actually. And it was really worried about what people would think, and I don't know, it was this strange thing. And now looking back, I'm like, what was all that about? But I was a lot younger, and actually I'm really glad I waited, because by the time I started DJing, I really had my head screwed on. And had I started when I was younger, I think I would have got really sucked into the party lifestyle of it all. And I don't think maybe I would have done as well, because yeah, I used to love partying and I used to love going out. And I don't think I quite had that like maturity level yet. So I actually went in and I started doing acting. I went to drama school, and ever since I was young, I always knew I wanted to do some sort of arts, whether it was music, acting, singing. I was always involved in that sort of thing. So yeah, and then I worked as an actor on stage at the theatre. I did the Shakespeare's Globe, and I was acting in front of thousands of people every day. But I was just still like, oh, this isn't doing it for me. I was still going raving all the time. And I was like, right, when this finishes, I'm just going to start DJing. And I did. But I think, like I said, it was the right time for me, because I was ready. I was mentally ready. I was like, right, I know what I like. I know who I want to be. I've got an idea of who I am as an artist. And whenever people ask me for advice, I always say, that's most important thing first. Make sure you're ready, because if you start and you don't know who you are, and you don't know what you're going to play, and you don't even know, like, I don't know what your persona is, it's like you're going to have to figure all that out whilst learning to DJ. And it's like I felt like I was already ready. Okay, yeah, of course, it was like I was still figuring things out, but I was ready mentally.
Brilliant.
And I had a clear idea of what music I liked, you know.
That's great advice. That is very great. Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Like, you know, it's better that it happened the way it did, because now you've blown up in much bigger ways than if it happened previously. You know, like I'm a believer in like the universe, and like things you kind of happen and
Yeah, me too.
and stuff. You know.
Yeah, no, you have to. I do believe in things like that, because things happen all the time. And even now that I'm in it, it doesn't get easier. It's like things happen all the time, and one door closes and then another opens. But what I realize is, if you just trust it, then you don't push for anything too much, because everything does happen at the right time, I think, for who you are as a person and what you're learning. So yeah, I'd say really figure out what you like and what your style is first. Because I think the easiest thing for a promoter is when they go, oh, I'm going to book that person because I know what they're going to bring, and they know instantly what your vibe is. So I think that's really important when you're thinking about starting out, because it's not just DJing, it's like it really is just the whole thing, like who you are and what are they coming to see you for, what are they going to expect.
That's it, kind of like the brand of what
Yeah,
you're going to play, how you're going to act on stage, can you handle a big crowd, can you
yeah,
crowd, stuff like that.
all of these things, like I said, again, people ask me a lot, and that's the main advice I'd give to them. And kind of good to do this podcast, because I don't really get a chance to say this stuff. But yeah, it is really important. And I would say sit down and think about those things first, and play around with your tunes, and do all of that, rather than try and rush into it too quickly.
Yeah, I think it will unfold at the right time, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons and
Yeah,
put the work in.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, amazing. So yeah, something that we're big on at Music Workflow is like representing the women of the industry and making sure they're fairly represented, and that things are fair. Like with my students, I make sure they get paid, and they range from the ages of 10 to 65, male and female. Like we've got,
Wow, that's amazing.
we've got lots of little kids. Some of them
Oh,
Yeah,
I love that. I love that. I wish there was somewhere that I could have gone when I was that age. That is sick. That's wicked that you're doing that.
oh,
It's really cool.
thank
Good
you.
for you.
I'm sure we'll get you involved in one way or another, you know, in a few ways. Uh,
Mm,
so yeah, no, it's lovely helping the kids. Like some of them have special needs, and
mm,
helping them work through that, and help
yeah.
if they find themselves through music, and they
Yeah.
get to express themselves, and they're
Yeah.
they're always so good as well. Like my best student's age 13, and you know,
Really?
yeah, he mixes on 4 decks, and he's a beast. Like we got him a club set in Greece. He's already played.
What?
We got
He's
lots of
already touring.
so yeah, we
That's
got
insane.
yeah, I've got a 15-year-old in Florida. He's getting $700 a week doing weddings, and he's
Wow.
so yeah, we'll have to bring you in somehow. Obviously, this podcast will be great, but we'll bring you in other areas, and just
Mm.
helping the youth, helping the grassroots.
I
Helping,
would love that. You know, like I said, I wish I had that when I was that age. And it's just wicked. Like when I was in school, I didn't even think it was so different for when we were younger. I don't know how old you are, but I really struggled with school, and I wish I had something like this to like have an outlet. For me, it was doing like drama class, but yeah, it's you forget that, like, you know, kids that age, they need like to be stimulated, and their minds, like, you know, with music and other things, rather than just the academic stuff, which is also good. And you know, make sure you work hard in school, guys, but you know, the other stuff is so important, like the creative stuff.
mm, yeah, they're getting me into local colleges to look at the music curriculum and make sure
Oh, wicked.
the equipment's good. So yeah, just been
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I did music in school, there wasn't decks, there wasn't any talk of electronic music, you know. So yeah, it's really good that you do that.
yeah, yeah, but well, yeah, help the kids, and then they're the next generation. So hopefully, they'll have a good time as well, and
Yeah.
you know, um, so yeah, I mean, I always wanted to get into music as a kid as well, but couldn't really find an outlet to get
Yeah.
to DJing and stuff. So I was self-taught, and then I was like, damn, if only there was someone who knew what they were doing to help me out a bit, to teach. So I do it for my younger self, like to help. Uh,
Wow, I love that. That's so sick. That's so sick. Good for you. That's amazing.
yeah, we've got a student who is I think he's 14 or 15, and he's the only student. He's taking DJing as his GCSE.
What?
Yeah, there's a school that he's at, and he's doing DJing as a GCSE. He's the only student.
Stop.
Seriously, Amara, literally, like he's picked it. He's picked DJing as GCSE, and the school don't even know. Like they have no curriculum. They have no grading system. So I've had to make one for them. I've had to make a whole
Oh my
curriculum.
God, that's amazing that they're letting him do that.
Isn't it amazing?
That is insane. That is so sick. I'm like, oh, I wish I could have done a decency in
I
DJ.
know. Can you imagine back in the
That's
day?
so sick, though. That
Yeah.
is so sick.
So once that goes well, I'm going to go to the school and say like, I'll take over or something and
Mm.
get that going, and then I can get it into the schools. That's kind of the route we're going at the moment. Obviously, I'm working with the local colleges, unis, and stuff as well. But the local college is going to be building me a radio station, and they're going to let me use it for podcasts. So I'll get you for like an in-person podcast at some point or something like that.
Oh yeah, I'd love that. I'd love that.
So yeah, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. I can't say everything, but I've said quite a lot. So yeah, it's quite a lot there. But yeah, no, I think it's great because the kids will get to do that. So
Mm.
so that's a bit what's going on with me. So what other news have you got then? Is there anything else you got bubbling? We're gonna be working on a project soon, a little music project.
You know what? I've actually got a release coming out in like 2 weeks with Will Clark, who yeah, we've made a techno record together, Techno Tree. That's coming out soon. And then I've got some projects coming out next year, but I can't talk about them, which is really exciting, because we're doing like all the contracts and stuff, all of that boring stuff. But I'm really, really excited, because one of my favorite records, which I made, called Colour of My Dreams, which I've shared a bit on socials because Patrick's played it and quite a few other people have played it. That's coming out next year, and it's definitely I think it's the best thing I've ever done. And my mum cried when she heard it, which makes me think that it is going to do well.
Oh, well, that is brilliant.
It sounds so sad, doesn't it?
I love that. I love that.
But no, well, Patrick played it at Creamfields, and it was, yeah, I'm really excited. So that's coming out next year, if all goes to plan, which I'm sure it will. Putting it out there. So yeah, I'm actually in the studio now. I'm just still working on stuff, and that's it. I'm just showing up every day, because don't get me wrong, there are days when I'm like, oh my God, my brain is just like, I'm not feeling it, but I've said to myself, I'm gonna show up every time, even if I'm not feeling it, because on one day I might hit something. So, and that's what I try and do. So yeah,
that's great. You're being,
but writer's block is real, and it's hard sometimes.
I think you're being consistent is like the main thing, like that's been my secret for a lot of stuff, is just turn up every day, have a good routine, don't get too sucked into the party scene and stuff.
Yeah, it's hard, because when I first started DJing, I was staying out quite a lot. And I had to have a real talk with myself and be like, right, Amara, this is really fun, but like, let's not get too excited. And yeah, I've definitely like reined it in now. And now, like, I do a show and I'm like, or I do a set and I'm like, I'm gonna go back to the hotel now, get pizza. And the promoter's like, stay. And it's really hard sometimes. I want to, like, make an effort, and I'll have a drink and stuff, but I have to take care of myself and be like, I need to go back, because otherwise that affects my studio time if I'm tired and all of that. So yeah, it's all been a bit of a learning curve, really.
Brilliant. I'm glad you adapted and didn't get sucked in. I know a lot of people that didn't adapt.
Oh yeah, and some people, by the way, are great at that and still do really well, but like, but for me it doesn't work. Like, it's too much. But some people can do it. They've got the energy. But there you go.
Each to their own. There, I think that's
each to their own.
Yeah, we're not saying do it or don't do it. We're just saying, do
balance.
Balance. Balance. Do what works best for you, because
exactly
health is wealth at the end of the day. DJing.
Exactly. You've got to take care of yourself. That's another thing. The sleeping patterns and stuff, like eating well and all that. I really have tried to do all of that while I'm like DJing and stuff, touring, and getting used to that side of things, because you have to take care of yourself.
What's your typical go-to like meal? Do you go for the protein, or like when you're on tour, or what can you get in a Kinder Bueno, or what's
honestly, the thing is, what's difficult is that sometimes I get there really late, and then the only thing that's got food is the hotel, and the hotel sometimes has only got like pizza and like that's it. And then that's when it's really hard. So I actually taking food with me as well. At lunches, because honestly, like, it's I'll be like, the other day I had like a green smoothie before I did a set, and I was like, who am I? Like, who is this person?
Health queen.
What's going on? And then I had a drink later. It made me feel better. But yeah, you gotta take care of yourself.
Brilliant. Oh, so
for sure.
take care of yourself, put yourself first, and then
Yes.
get home responsible, responsible times, and yeah, it's just better in the long run because
Yeah. Thing is, with what we do, it's so 1 minute you can be playing at this time and the next minute you're playing at that time. And if you don't have a bit of some, self-care in between, then, it's not like other people who have like set, I actually quite like a routine. So it's quite hard with this because I can't really have a routine. I can only have a routine when I'm not playing. But that's what works for me. That's what keeps me like sane, is like when I'm not playing, having a routine. And but yeah,
that's it really, isn't it? I love a routine as well, and then playing all these irregular times, and you're just like,
yeah, you don't really think about these things before you start, and then you're like, oh gosh, this is like, but it's the only downside, I think. If you can get that right, then you can really enjoy it.
it's way more pros, like
Yeah,
99 pros on like one con. That's really it.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I think that's something that we're going to discuss with future podcast guests, just like the wellness routine of things. So I think that's so important.
No one, I'd never heard anyone talk about that sort of stuff, and I'd never, it wasn't a conversation. And when I go out, I didn't see any of that. Everyone was just getting wrecked. And actually, now I know a few DJs, but now I know a few DJs who have been doing it for so long, and they take care of themselves now. I think they've had their years of like partying and stuff, and now they're, got more into their wellness, and it's not, I'm not sitting here being like, oh, I don't want to sound boring or anything, because everyone knows if you go on my Instagram that I'm like, I love it and I'm so up for it. But again, it's all about balance. And yeah, I guess it's not really spoken about enough about how much this lifestyle can impact your mental health. And at one point it was. So I had to take a real look at myself and go, okay, what areas could I, take care of myself a bit more? And like I said, I enjoy it so much more now.
Yeah, yeah, we're big advocates of mental health, and we just want to make sure like people getting in the industry know that you need to navigate it carefully. And like there's been a lot of like big deaths in the industry this year, and like because of things, and like
it's just, yeah, if you're not careful, it can, that world can really suck you in. So you've got to be a strong person. And this goes back to why I said I'm glad I waited, and why I say to people, just wait till you're really ready. I mean, some people are ready when they're 18 and they're very mature and all of these things, but you have, because it's a big world out there, and it's a lot of hedonistic fun, and it's like you just are mentally, you have to be strong to deal with that.
Quite often with DJs as well, is they're the party animal, and
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but with me it's just a switch, and once it's flicked on,
yeah,
it doesn't come off for a few days. Like
yeah, it
So,
is, yeah. And it's like, again, like I love that, but it's just balance. It just really is balance, yeah. And looking after your mental health is like, that's actually been one of my priorities this year, was taking care of my mental health and doing little things like journaling and stuff like that. Like I try to, like, every morning now, and it actually really helps because it makes me get my thoughts out, and also I can see if there's something that's bothering me or whatever, and it really helps. So little things like that can help, and I think it makes you do better anyway. And when I'm feeling good, I make better music, all of these things. I think I read this thing recently, and it said like your success is based on how much care you take of yourself, or how much you work on yourself. And the more you work on yourself, the more likely you are to be successful or do well.
I love that. I actually love that. That's definitely going in the title. I always write my titles for the podcast as the podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Whenever you say something interesting, I'm like, I'll get that down. Podcast title.
I think I've got the actual quote like in my. Got it here in a book. Wait, can I read it to you?
Please do. Please. I love books.
So I think I said it right, but I just want to double check.
What book is it for everyone listening?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I can talk about my books. I do read. It's called The Miracle Morning.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
It's so good. Someone told me about it, and because of what we were saying, it basically teaches you to have the importance of having a routine. Not a routine, but like well, yeah, I guess a routine, but especially in the morning before you start your day, it's like it just sets me up for the day, and how important like having time to yourself to get yourself ready, like journal, meditate, exercise, and then start. And I've been doing that before getting into the studio from this book, and it's just like changed my mindset. But anyway, I found the quote.
Yeah.
Put it here. So your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal development, because success is something you attract by the person you become. That's quite a while. I can send you that after we've had this.
Yes.
But there's no point trying to be successful if you're not going to work on yourself, basically. Yeah. Because you're not going to enjoy it otherwise.
That is amazing. That is a brilliant quote.
Yeah. So I actually really recommend people to read this as well, because it's a good one.
Perfect. All right, I think that's a good point to end it. I think everyone should go on the podcast, check Amara out, of course, and go get that book. We will see you in the next episode, Amara. It's been lovely to have you.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed chatting to you. It's been so great.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time, and stay tuned for more news from me and Amara. Bye.
Bye.